Oh boy, the broadcast is live.
And we are live. We are live, Denise.
I've
You
been
can
live
either
for a
just
long time.
smile or you can say hi. Right now, there are 0 people watching, but I'll
Okay.
keep you posted. I don't know if you see what's going on through your screen, and that's good. I mentioned that to Rico last interview, that not knowing what people are saying is a good thing
Okay,
because
I'll
you're
take your
not being
word for it.
influenced.
I'll take your word
But we
for it.
have Angie.
Hi,
We have
Angie.
Angie here. And she's
I
saying
miss seeing your
yay
face,
because she is
Angie.
excited. She
Oh,
is excited for this. Um,
oh.
and people are tuning in little by little. And we're very excited to have
Hi,
Denise
Jeff.
Yepa here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can see
I can
Jeff
see
from
them.
Minnesota, not missing a beat here for our new segment. What's your story? And as promised, Denise Yepa, I said that last week that I didn't know if it was going to be a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, but if we can be consistent, why not be consistent? So so even Al here, hello,
Can I
wife.
respond? Like, can I type to them? Can I respond to them?
You can, but I rather you just focus your attention on the
I have
interview
a hard
here
time focusing, I'm
because
going to tell you.
yeah, no, you have
But
to
I'll try.
focus. Let's see. Should we wait a few more seconds, till we crack the 10 viewer mark, or we should
We
just go
won't get
ahead?
10 viewers, okay? We won't get 10.
Oh, I think we will get tens of thousands. If people
Tens of
only knew what was
thousands.
going on here, they would know. So very glad for those that are tuning in. I see Jeanette here, Diane, and
Yes. Hello,
this is
hello,
a way
hello.
for all of us to
You
kind of
may
have
say
a
that, Angie.
moment, even though that I'm just talking with Denise here. But at least it brings us closer together. And for today, for this evening, you'll get to know who is that lady that sits in the back of the church, right? And is always on her phone, even though I don't mind. But who is
It
that
keeps
lady?
me focused. I play mindless games so I can listen.
You share that. You share that with me, that you're on your phone because that's how you pay attention to my
Believe it
sermon.
or not.
So I rather have that. I rather have that than the snoring. So
I do that too.
we are okay with that. But Denise,
Yes, sir.
to start off, Denise Yepa, and you took the name from your husband. But what is your last name, your maiden name?
Rivera.
Rivera.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where is that from, Rivera?
My parents are Puerto Rican. But
okay.
we did Ancestry.com, and apparently I'm more Portuguese from Portugal. Well, I guess that's, yeah. Anyway, more Portuguese than Spanish, which is interesting to me. Got a little French mixed up in there.
That's where we have our connection.
I know.
My whole mother's side is Portuguese and Spanish.
Woo-hoo!
Look at that. That's why we are always like, we are connected. I knew it. I knew there was something about that. But Denise,
yes, sir.
What do you do for work, Denise?
Well, until about 7 weeks ago, I was the health assistant at Osuna Elementary School, and I miss my kids. Okay.
How is that like?
Well, you stop a lot of nosebleeds, give out a lot of Band-Aids. You say you're fine, go back to class a lot, and call lots of parents and say, no, wait, they're okay, but...
Are you like carry Band-Aids at all times?
I never leave my office unless it's an emergency. So I have a stash.
Okay, so you work in an office.
Yeah, health office.
I work in the home. Work like with a walkie-talkie?
I have a walkie-talkie, my very own.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I wish at church we had like a walkie-talkie dynamic because it makes you feel like a kid again. That's what I think.
It is fun to use the walkie-talkie sometimes. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Now, is this like what you studied for? What is your major,
gosh, no.
Denise?
I studied many things in college. I first started out, I did. I first started out in paralegal studies. because I thought that'd be really interesting. But then I realized
Yeah.
I didn't like research. And that was before the internet. And so I did great, but I quit that. And then I studied early childhood ed. And then I had to work for a living. I went back to school. I studied interior design, but I just farted around too, in college too much and didn't finish that. So
That's good. That's great. And now you're working in the school system, which apparently, as you mentioned, you enjoy.
I love it.
And also, for those that don't know, Denise is also a major digital influencer. It's true. It's true. Denise is online, constantly. She's aware of the digital waves that we're facing nowadays. So that's interesting. But now, Denise, you mentioned that you're missing work and all. How have you been coping with this whole COVID-19 situation?
Well.
Okay, what else do you miss? Like, what else do you miss besides your kids from school? What are you missing the most?
My coworkers, I work with a fantastic team. Osuna is a wonderful little school, and it's like a family, and I really miss them. And just seeing everyone, we have 535-ish kids, and it's never quiet. Well, sometimes, but it's always busy, and there's always someone around, and I really, really like it, and I miss them.
And outside of work, because I know that you consider yourself an introvert, and I don't know if you're joking, but many of your posts were kind of like celebrating. Not obviously, not what's happening in the negative sense, but in a way, kind of like comfortable in the fact that there's some good things about being at home as an introvert. How can you explain that?
I have gotten to the place where I'm chill about this. I mean, I'm bummed that the worst of it has been Abby not having a graduation. That would have been a couple of days ago. That's hard. It's hard seeing her having a hard time. But I think we're all like, we're here, just kind of.
Are you enjoying the extra time with your kids, or are they giving you a hard time?
Oh, they're not giving me a hard time. It's like they're not here because they're on their laptops doing school stuff, talking to friends. So I'm actually alone a lot. I don't like that. I like being alone when I want to be alone.
Yeah, and Elle is, we're going to get to Elle in a bit, but, we're going to get to Elle. But Elle is usually on the road a lot, right? So he's always working, driving his truck.
From Arizona, and he should be here soon.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's watching from the truck. Maybe he has like the phone holder, and he is watching. That's why he's not commenting, because he's being safe.
Don't tell the transportation department.
Hopefully. Oh, there you go. He's there.
See?
He's commenting all.
But I'm sure his eyes are on the road.
Now, Denise, is there any piece of information about you that you think that is relevant for people to know right now?
I don't know. I think people probably have. I think I'm probably not as weird or as well. Maybe I am. I don't know. I think people probably think I'm different than what I am. I think my friends who are more liberal think I'm really conservative, and my conservative friends probably think I'm really liberal.
I think you're really liberal. Yes.
And I'm probably more conservative than I might seem. So
from the naked eye. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. And I get it, because sometimes even as we use humor online, it can seem that we are portraying ourselves in a certain way, but we're just kidding.
Right.
And sometimes we don't know where's the line between, joking and.
I have a very hard time staying on the right side of that line.
We're back. For some reason, the screens went off here, but we're back. No, everything is fine. You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. I'm glad.
Sorry.
I told Denise before, and I'm telling all of you that are watching that, this is the time of the day that all those kids are playing video games in the neighborhood, and they're sucking all of the Wi-Fi. And we have, like, for important things that are, world changing, like this interview, we have to face these roadblocks. So let's bear in mind that we can face some glitches here, but I'm glad for those that are still watching us here. But Denise,
Yeah.
let's flash back a little bit to your childhood. What was your childhood like? Were you raised in a Christian home or not? And maybe what is your fondest memory from your childhood?
I had an idyllic childhood. Really, I grew up in a Christian home. My grandmother, my mom's mom, lived with us, and she was such a prayer warrior and such a stalwart in our home. And she had to have the house cleaned and food cooked and bathed by worship on Friday night. And that was kind of a drag, as a teenager. But in retrospect, I'm so grateful for it. Her prayers, they kept us on good roads, even when we swerved a bit, My grandparents, my dad's parents, my grandfather apparently wanted to be a minister. Grew up in an Adventist home, I think. And every Sabbath, we would go to church together at one church, and we'd always go, well, not always, but I have many memories of going to my grandparents' home for lunch on Sabbath. We didn't have potluck every week back in those days. And so my father's siblings, many of them, well, a couple of them, lived in the area. And so we got together with cousins a lot. So it was just wonderful to be in that rich family setting. And I went to church school, and so church friends were also school friends. And I think I had an idyllic childhood. I really do. And it wasn't without issues. Things happen. But one of the things we do at school is we look at adverse childhood experiences and how they relate to kids' development and their learning. And it's scary how many kids we deal with every day who have so many of them. I read through that list and I had none of those. What a blessing to grow up in a home that was safe and to grow up in a home where there was love and there was yelling, because my dad was a loud talker, and I come by it naturally. But it was safe and there was love. And so,
that was all back in Maryland, right?
In Maryland, Tacoma Park, back when the GC was in Tacoma Park. Grew up in a little Adventist ghetto.
Man, you're like in the Adventist Mecca.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy. Maryland.
But it was good.
Love to. Yeah, it's a good place. Now, you grew up, obviously, and you've developed into a teenager. And how were the teenagers? Were you a rebel? Because usually when we are, in that age,
is my mom watching? Can you see is my mom on there?
No, I don't know. But like, were you a rebel? Do you consider yourself a rebel, or were you a nice kid in the sense of like you followed orders, you tried to obey, or not really?
I tried to obey. I tried.
It's hard.
My mother was a teacher. And I never drank, I never smoked, I never did drugs. I was pretty obedient at home. At school, I didn't do homework and I didn't go to class, and I was in the principal's office a lot.
Sure.
I don't remember getting paddled, but so I don't think of that as especially rebellious. But for a teacher, having a kid who acts out at school, that might be rebellion. So asking her.
Yeah. No, but back in the day, maybe nowadays, it's kind of a little bit more.
I was a good kid. I found that, again, my friends were church friends and school friends. And I was, again, blessed by really good people in my life. I mean, our youth pastors were fantastic. And one time, Mel, if you're watching, we, oh boy, we went over to our youth pastor's house. He and his wife were engaged, and we hung out, and we were watching movies, and we fell asleep. And we woke up at 3 a.m, the pastor's daughter and myself, and he was freaking out because it was 3 a.m. And so we called.
Did your parents know?
They knew who we had left with, but they didn't know where we were. You know, this is 1987, I think.
No cell phones.
Dark
no
ages.
Cell phones back.
Dark
ages. Yeah.
And so we got home. You know, Mel called. He called our dads and explained what had happened, and we apologized profusely. We were so scared. And my dad, he was so sweet. He said, as long as you're with Mel and Lisa, I know you're okay and you're safe. And so those were the kinds of people I hung out with. I didn't get into a lot of trouble. I mean, we had lots of fun. We had lots of fun. I can't imagine if I was more rebellious in the way that the world considers rebellion. I'd be off the rails. That'd have been bad.
I think everybody has their level, I think, of rebellion as a teenager. I think those who are just about, let me obey, let me do the right thing, I think those are the exceptions. I think when you hit those teenage years, you know, it's inevitable. You're trying to affirm yourself, right? You're trying to figure things out. And I think sometimes it comes out as rebellion when you're just trying to figure things out and know the limits and of what you can do. Now, very good. Now, obviously, you're talking about, you know, people that you were hanging out with in your teenage years, but even in college years. Has there been anybody in your life, any like spiritual figures or mentors that you can look back and say, yeah, you know, these individuals or these people, they made a big difference in maybe who I am, or maybe guiding me in my faith? Were there any people like that, or not really?
I grew up in a time in our church when things were, you know, a little more legalistic. And there were a lot of, I remember one time we were in Sabbath school, I was probably in primary, and they said, oh, you shouldn't wear pants to church. Obviously, everyone who knows me knows I don't follow that rule, because this is God's house and we have to respect him. But then they would say, but God loves you no matter what. And I'd be like, hello, teacher, if God loves me, why can't I wear pants? Denise, be quiet, you know, they'd get after me. For all the experiences like that, and there were several, I was blessed with wonderful people. I had pastors who were caring. I had youth ministers who embraced me, and they are my dearest friends. You know, I'm not going to cry. You're frozen. Are you frozen? I don't see you moving. Anyway, but the camera's ticking. So I had really good people in my life, and Mel and Lisa are some of them, 2 of them. And where'd he go? Oh, like all of a sudden I'm by myself. Where's Andre? This is really weird. Am I talking to myself? Am I talking to myself? Because that I would probably go on and on. Let's do a little dance. I'm not going to do that. Andre, where are you? Hello? This is so weird. Jeff says I'm not alone. Thank you. And Al, I'm glad you're listening, not watching. You see enough of this craziness at home.
I'm still here.
Jeff, we miss you. Andre's not here.
Hey.
Is he coming back?
I'm here. I'm here.
Hi, Angie.
Can you hear me now?
Pictures of that boy. Hi. I can hear you now.
So there you go. I missed your whole answer. I bet it was a blessing. But I'm glad. See, that's the thing. I did not know. And since we are in the testing phases, I'm glad to know that if anything happens, my computer simply shut down. I don't know why. But
Oh no.
I'm glad that, because even though this happens, but if you are on, you can continue on, and I can just come back as if nothing happened.
Don't go away again.
Yes.
Because I don't dance or anything. I have no routine in my pocket to pull out.
I'm glad. I was getting upset, saying, "Oh boy, now we're gonna have to do all the interview again because it's not saved and everything else." But it is saved. I'm glad
awkward
you're still
silence.
on, and
there was an awkward silence.
There was an awkward silence because you thought
only
you were
for a moment.
Yeah. So
because the live button was still going, so I knew
it is live. We never stopped going live, but I'm gonna I'm gonna just like keep moving my head. Because if it freezes, you know that
right, exactly.
Because if I'm like,
you haven't blinked.
Yeah, if I'm not blinking and it goes off, you think that you're still talking to me.
Yes.
So
hi, Reed.
I bet
you guys.
I'll have to go back and see your answer eventually. But I bet it was a good answer.
It was the best answer ever.
It was the best answer ever. So
except for Rico's bear, that's always a good tale.
We'll leave it at that. Oh, this is so weird. I don't know. Like, and this is a new computer. See, I'm frustrated now. But very good. Now they'll guide us into, because I know that last week Rico shared with us, how he met Ashley, and I think I've had a conversation with you about how you met Elle, and I know that it was later in life, right?
Later in life. Yes.
Because I'm giving you an example. I got married at 22. I was like a little baby, and I know that it was not the case. It was not the case in your relationship. So where did you meet this man?
Okay, so this is a good story. I was engaged before. I had dated some guy for a long time, and I knew early on that he wasn't who God wanted for me. I tried to change God's mind, and it didn't work.
Yes.
And so one day we just decided to end things, and we did. And that day, like, I knew that God had someone in mind for me. I knew that he wanted to answer the longings of my heart, to have a family. And that had been, from the time I was about 3 or 4, people would say, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I'd say, "A mom." And they'd say, "There's no college course for that." And I'd say, "You're right." And anyway, that's what I wanted more than anything else, was to have a family. And so, God knew that. And he had someone in mind for me, and it wasn't who I thought it was. Thank you, Lord. But the day that I broke up with this guy, I started writing a list of what I wanted in a husband. Mm-hmm. And so every Monday was the day to pray for, like, this, I don't know who it was a prayer journal that I was using that year. And every day you prayed for a specific group of people, and Monday was your spouse. I wasn't married, so I started praying for the spouse, and I would write something down every Monday morning, and I would pray over that every week, and I would add something every week, a characteristic or an attribute or something that I wanted in my future husband. And after a while, my mom said, "Denise, you need to meet somebody." And I said, "Oh, I'm good." She said, "No, you should." Hi, Raquel. It's good to see you. Sorry, got distracted to your mom. So my mom said, my mom said, "You should write to someone from Adventist Singles."
Yeah, there you go. But wait a minute, before you continue.
That's not even funny. Because you know who those people on that.
Was Rockstar in your list?
Guitar player or loves music was. I was not. You have to be careful what you pray for, because I didn't say what kind of music. I just said music.
Yes.
Anyway, so my mom said meet somebody right on Adventist Single, and I said no, because those people were scary. Even in 1998, they were frightening. And so I joined this internet dating site run by Adventists, and I was very particular. My hair's sticking out over there somewhere. It's bothering me. I I was very particular about what kind of person I wanted to meet. And I got all kinds of crazy responses from people and several marriage proposals.
That's so surprising, within the Adventist circle.
It was. Yeah, right? Like,
yeah.
They're weird Adventists. They're very
weird.
peculiar.
I thought they were all
peculiar people. And so anyway, right
marriage proposals. Like,
yes, like
the first message,
hi, nice to meet you. Oh, hi, nice to meet you too. So will you come to Texas and marry me? Freak show. No, I won't. Yes. Those are the kind. Like, I have 2 teenage daughters. I'm a pastor in Chicago. Please marry me. Oh, heck no. Like,
yeah. If you wanted the quick route, at least you have the option.
I have the option.
Yeah, like, let's not be. It's good to know we have the option.
Yep. So anyway, I'm not going to pay for it if I don't have to. So, yeah. So just about the time my free trial membership was about to run out, I got this, I don't know, this email or something from this guy in New Mexico. Where's New Mexico? What's New? I know Old Mexico in Arizona, but for a truck driver, like, who's a truck driver? What was that? So he was writing to me.
What was that? What is a truck driver?
And I was trying to let him down. Like, you're a really nice guy, but let's be friends. Like, wasn't interested, because I thought that the man that I would spend my life with looked a certain way. Yeah. He was a certain kind of package,
Yeah.
Because my plan was different than God's plan. Imagine that. So this guy was persistent, this Al guy. I don't know. He was really persistent. And so I didn't want to be unfriendly or rude, so I would respond to him. Yeah. But he kept, I can't tell which side is there.
Your hair is fine, Denise.
My hair is bothering me. And so anyway, this guy was persistent, and I kept writing back to him, and then he started to grow on me. And I think I was 33-ish. I was getting long in the tooth. Yeah. Anyway, we didn't talk for a long time. I was the church secretary, and he said he was a truck driver, but he could have been an axe murderer. And how would I really know?
You don't know.
He says he's coming to Washington, D.C. to visit me. How do I know? My mother had seen Hitcher. My mother had watched Hitcher, and she's like, Denise, a truck driver, really? And I said, he seems like a nice guy, Mom. I had my best friend, or one of my best friends, call his church and talk to his pastor. She called Wayne Gayton, and she's like, so what's the scoop on Al Yepa? And Wayne was like, oh, he's a great guy. And I'm like, okay.
Did your research.
But Rivera Paranoia says, be careful. Yep. So anyway, he just was a nice guy. And as I looked at all the things I had written about, my wish list, I found that he fit all of them. It was crazy. And I just thought, okay, I think this is the guy. And he came to meet me, and I finally told him where I worked. I finally said, okay, maybe he's legit.
Yeah.
I didn't really know, but so he came and met me, and he drove back to New Mexico.
Yeah.
I guess he was in the area. He was in Richmond or something. He wasn't too far away. And so he came and saw me, and we spent a weekend doing stuff with friends and talking a lot. And he went home, and he flew back a couple weeks later, and we're like, yeah, let's do this. And so
how long did you date before you got married?
Well, our first emails were exchanged in September. He came to meet me in December. He moved there in March. We got married in August. It was fast.
Wow. No, he moved into Maryland then.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long?
Because we're like, if we're going to do this, let's do this.
No, that's right. Anyway, after you are like 33, as you're mentioning, right? Like,
I didn't have much time.
No, it's not a matter of time, but like it's like you know what you want, you know. You know what you want. You made your list. The guy, checked all the boxes. You know why? Obviously you gave like the almost 1 year time to make
Right.
sure that he wasn't crazy. And then you just came to find out that he is crazy afterwards, but that's okay. But and for those who are watching and don't know, Al is our audio visual coordinator and one of our praise team leaders, and he's a blessing here in our church as well. Didn't mention that you are our greeter coordinator as well, but
hi, happy Sabbath, good to see you, welcome.
see, I know that you smiled. If you are watching right now, you just smiled with that greet. Now, you guys were living in Maryland, and for how long until you came to New Mexico?
So Al has a son from his first marriage, and Justin was 10. He just turned 10 when we met. He was almost 10. And so we knew, Al was very clear early on, like, if we are going to be something, you're going to have to move to New Mexico. Because, my son is there. And I thought, well, of course I will, because you have to be near your kid. And so I came here in January of 2000 to meet the family and to meet Justin. And I got off the plane and it was like being on a whole other planet. Like, there is no comparing New Mexico to a place where there's moisture. I mean, it's just,
I know.
But it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And so we spent the weekend. Al's from Jemez. And so we spent the weekend going up there, and it was gorgeous. And
it's love at first sight if you're going to Jemez.
It was beautiful. And I met his family, and they tried to initiate me by going up to, I think, Battleship Rock and dancing around naked or some weird thing like that. And I believed them. But I didn't do it because they, told me they were joking.
And you have been here since
Hi,
then.
Mom! My mom is watching. I have to be really good.
That's right. No, so that means that you have been here for how many years now in the land of entrapment?
So Al moved to Maryland. We got married, and for 2 years we kind of were on the fence about when we go back. And finally, I was like, we have to do this or not. And so we moved here 17 years ago. In March, it was 17 years. I told my family, I'll be there 5 years. Paul, I'm sorry. It's been longer. I love you.
It's been a long while. Let's see.
But right around year 4.5, I started to really like it. And I thought, I can do this longer.
At least I am back. Let's wait for Denise to come back.
I'm not.
For you if you are watching us right now,
what do I do?
Please let us know. Oh, there you go. You came back. For some reason, I lost you there, Denise. It's part of it. It's part of it. It's part of it. But let me change a little bit. How was the experience of having kids? Was it a good experience, or was it all you expected, or So tell us a little bit about that.
So I was one of those girls who thought being pregnant would be wonderful and romantic. Not like, just sweet and lovely. And really, it was like being taken over by aliens. And so I didn't like pregnancy at all, but it was so worth it. And I was so excited to have Abby. I'd wanted since I was a little girl to be a mommy, and she made me a mommy, and she's beautiful, and I love her so much. And she was a really good baby. She was a little colicky for a while. Man, that was tough. But she's really been a good kid. And then we moved her when she was about 1.5 years old. And then I got pregnant with Anna not long after we moved. And Anna makes me sound like I'm going to say Anna's not so good. Anna's wonderful also. They are great. They Anna was born to be funny, and she really cracks us up. They're good girls, and they make me crazy because kids do that to their parents. It has been everything I wanted and more, and not what I expected. A lot more policing than crafting. But that's just as well, because I'm not as crafty as I once was. I love them. They're good girls. We have been
So what have
blessed.
you learned? What is the main lesson that you've learned in motherhood? Or at
You know,
least
there's
one
so
of the
many
main lessons.
things. And oh man, I look at parents like you guys. I look at Ken and Allison. I look at our babies at church, and I look at how parents parent now, and it's so much more intentional. I was flying by the seat of my pants, man. I read What to Expect When You're Expecting and What to Expect the First Year, and I stopped reading. And maybe I should have read more. I see these parents who are they're so intentional with what they say and do, and probably every week I go, oh wow, I wish I had done that. I'm not going back. I don't want to go back, but I wish I had done things differently. I wish I'm a bit reactionary. Surprise, surprise. And so I think that I react a lot more than I wish I did. I wish I would hear things and think about them and then have a response, a thoughtful response. But I don't work that way.
No, it's good. I get it. And we all make mistakes, and we all wish. I think there's no, even those that you think, oh, they're super intentional. I think.
Oh gosh, I know.
I think every parent will go back and say, wow, I wish I did, different things. And
parenting is hard.
It's hard.
Parenting
it's very hard.
And I sit and I watch these parents. I'm not going to name names. I love to sit behind the lively children at church because it cracks me up to see them. Oh, I love it. I love to sit with them because I remember being there. I remember how hard it was, and I love to tell a mama, it's okay, it's gonna get better, And I love to encourage them because it's hard. I remember when my kids, we spent a lot of time in the mother's room. Oh man, because kids are loud and kids say things, and they can be pretty disruptive. And I remember feeling like every single person in the sanctuary or the store or wherever we were was staring at me. And I just felt like I'm the worst mama because my kid is misbehaving. And I have pretty good kids. So I've seen some kids that are not our church. Our church kids are really great. And so I just remember how that feels. And so I like to take any opportunity to encourage moms. Because
I'm not complaining.
I'm
not complaining. It's good.
Motherhood has been.
If there are children screaming and laughing and doing all these things, at least it reminds us that the church is alive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very good. Let's see. Are we lagging?
I don't know.
Let's see if we're on the same page.
It's like a TikTok video.
Keep moving your head like this, Denise. Yes. Keep moving your head.
We need to have music play.
Okay. We need to have music play. Now, let me ask you this. Growing up in the church and being raised in that whole environment, and now as a mature person in life, what would you consider one of your, challenges in the faith, and in church? What we can't deny that we ask ourselves questions from time to time as we are growing. But have you ever felt like either a crisis of faith, or maybe faced a challenge that led you to challenge a few things and to question a few things? Have you had any moments like that, or have you been steady throughout?
I think that when my father died unexpectedly, I had a lot of questions. I was 22, and I remember it was quiet and not much talking, not much laughing. And I know now that my friends were trying to draw me back out. And we went to some meetings, and I don't remember the name of the evangelist, but there was something that was said that just made it click for me. A 22-year-old girl is still a girl. in many ways and still unsure of herself and of her value. And there was something in that meeting that made me realize my value to God. And that changed my world. Because if he loves me, maybe I can accept myself. Maybe I'm okay. Maybe I shouldn't be as hard on myself as I have been.
Yeah.
I never really had any crisis of faith. I never really had any. I've been frustrated with people in the church, let me tell you. But people are people, and all of us do stupid, boneheaded things, in our own name and in his name. And we need to, I think it's important to not look at people, but to look at Christ.
It's true.
I think if we put too much, people have said awful things to me as a kid growing up. I went to Christian schools, like 11 of my 12 years were in Adventist schools. And I have a lot of friends who are no longer in the church, many who are no longer in a church. And my heart hurts for some of them because I believe that we are all seeking. We have God-shaped holes in our lives, and until we fill them with him, they will be empty. And we can throw money or drugs or food or sex or whatever in them, but until we fill them with him, they will be empty.
That's true.
And
I agree.
And so I look at my friends who no longer are connected to him, and I'm sad for them. Also, I understand some of the things that may have happened that led them to leave. We read a book in the women's Sabbath school class several years ago called, I think it was 10 Who Left, or Bonnie. Anyway, I forget the name of the book, but
yeah.
And I realized, we have so many hurting kids. In my generation, there's lots, and I call myself a kid. I'm not a kid, but there's lots in my generation who've left. And I don't know. I never have. Church is my, that's how I grew up. That was part of my social life and my spiritual life and my family life. And
So let me rephrase then. Let me rephrase then. So with that being said, what is the main reason you continue in church nowadays?
Well, I mean, admittedly, part of it is it's custom, it's tradition, I have friends who have left the Adventist faith for other Christian, either non-denominations
other beliefs,
And when I think about the culture of Adventism and leaving that, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. I think it'd almost be harder to leave
place. Would you say that?
Christianity altogether than it would be to leave the Adventist. But that I've had a good experience. I feel more, I mentioned earlier that we had done our ancestry thing. My parents are Puerto Rican. And so I'm a proud Puerto Rican. I feel more Adventist than Puerto Rican. That's the culture that is my own.
Yeah.
And so
that's good.
I don't know.
It's an interesting and culture. It has its good, it has its cons, but I think I understand where you're coming from because I think we were raised in a similar way. Now, what about the Corrales Seventh-day Adventist Church? What would you say is your favorite thing about our church?
It's so funny because I'll get to that in a second, what Rico said last week. So when we first came here, we attended the church that Al had joined when he was baptized many years ago and met lovely people, but it never felt like home. And I don't know if it was that. I mean, I went to the same church. I was dedicated in that church, baptized in that church. I got married in that church. I worked in that church. I mean, Capital Memorial Church, back in DC is my home. You know, they're my people. And when we came here to New Mexico, the church we attended, the people were nice, you know, but it wasn't home. It never felt like home. We had some good pastors who made it more fun than other pastors, but it wasn't really, I didn't connect. With people I did, but not with the church as a whole. And so we decided that we were going to leave that church and look around. And we said, let's try Corrales. It's farther away, but let's try. And so we came in, and everyone was really, really lovely. It was warm. It was small. I think the first week we were there was the week the church had moved to the gym or the second week, maybe the second visit was the week they moved to the gym because of the renovation. Back when everything was orange. Whoo, it was orange.
Yeah.
And
what year was that? You remember?
2010, maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Been that long.
Okay.
Second or third, and you know who was preaching? What's his name? Dr. Someone help me. What's his name? Dr. Zamora. Dr. Zamora was preaching.
Okay.
He had a 3-week. he was preaching for 3 weeks in a row, and it was fantastic. And I thought, okay, these people are friendly, you know, and fantastic sermons, and let's go here. And I think our second week, Jerry Evans came to us, and he's like, well, you've been here. If you've been here this many weeks, then you're a member. So how do you want to help?
That sounds like
I love Jerry and Molly. And so that was it. We're like, I guess we're in. And we loved it. And we were just, Corrales is such a warm church. And I love that there's generations of members. And I love that there are senior members and there are little people, and you know, every church has its issues, and sometimes there's not enough to help going around, you know. All churches are the same that way, you know, but Corrales is special. Corrales is special. And for the first time, I felt like I was at home again. And so
that's good.
Give me that membership transfer card. So
I love to hear the stories of how people, you know, end up in a church, because, you know, when people choose to stay, you would assume that, you know, the church is doing something right, you know, to make somebody make a decision to be part of that family. So I always enjoy those stories. Now, let's change a little bit of the topic and just transition into some short answers, the lightning round.
The lightning round.
Where's my lightning round? Lightning round. Nobody is going to judge you, okay? So first question that I have is that what is a favorite movie, Denise, or movie that comes to your mind right now?
Sound of Music.
The Sound of Music, a song.
The movie, the whole thing. Do you want me to sing?
Choose a different song. No, choose a different. I'm asking you now to name a song that you like that has nothing to do with The Sound of Music.
Oh gosh. I told you this would happen. My mind would go blank.
It's
Band
okay.
on the Run.
It's okay.
Band on the Run.
Okay. For those that don't know, I don't know what that is. I'll have to Google that afterwards. So it's okay. How about a place to visit? I know that we're all in our houses right now, and I mentioned that last week as well. That's where you want to go?
If I could go any place aside from my family's house, it'd be Ocean City.
You'll be Ocean City.
Yeah.
How about overseas? A place that you've never been before that you want to go?
You know, I am not, like Rico, not much of a traveler. My mother is a traveler. My older brother's a traveler. My older brother's like a nomad. He loves to travel. I just don't have it. I'm not really interested. But if I could go anywhere, I'd want to go to Africa.
Okay. Africa.
Yeah.
Anywhere in Africa.
I think I'd like to go to Kenya. Okay. And so I had a pastor who was African, or he grew up in Africa, and he told great stories. And we had the church I grew up in DC has it's kind of where all the embassies are and consulates, and the World Bank is near there. And it was a very international church. We had like 78, 80 different nations represented, and a lot of them were from different African countries. And those are such beautiful, wonderful people. I miss them. I miss the lack of diversity in New Mexico. But I like New Mexico, so it's okay. Africa. So
Africa. It's a good answer. It's a good answer. Now, what's your favorite place in New Mexico? Because it's a big state, but I know that Jemez was the first place you visited, but what is the dearest place that you like to go back to here in New Mexico?
So I have a husband who's on the road all the time. So when he comes home, he likes to be at home. So we don't travel as much as I would like to. We went last year or 2 years ago, we went on the Circle of Enchantment in northern New Mexico. And it is beautiful.
I know.
There.
Angel Fire. And, through Taos there.
Yes.
It is indeed.
Up north.
That's a good answer.
Up north is beautiful.
Well, I see here many people have been watching, many of our members, and later on you can just go back. I know that you're kind of checking. You're cheating. I told you not to check the comments, but you're checking the comments.
Well, they don't move very much, so.
Yeah. But it's okay. Well, Denise, see, I know that you were a little not anxious or not hesitant, but you were kind of like, what is this going to be like? So there you go. You survived. This is what an interview looks like. I have a problem with saying
yes too easily. I really should learn to say no, because I commit to something and then I freak out. And so I was in the park. Today with a friend, and we were sitting 6 feet apart, and it was outside, so we didn't have to wear masks. But I told this friend, I wish I'd said no because I'm freaking out. But
you survived.
Okay. I have.
See, and that's because we met all your checklist, right?
Where are the M&Ms, dude? Oh, I have some in my drawer.
Yeah. See, Denise sent to me, and I'll probably close with this. She sent a list of all possible questions, access to a private bathroom, fully stocked with supplies, an orchestral entrance, any works by John Williams will do. And the list goes on. We try to do everything that we could. But we're glad you were part of this, Denise. We're looking forward to the day that our church is going to resume, and you can go back into saying hello, welcome to the Corrales Church.
I hope Denise.
That's right. Hopefully soon, but is there anything you want to leave everybody, those that are watching us? Any either thought, message? Just what do you want to tell people right now? It can be anything. What is in your heart for those that are watching right now, for those that are going to watch eventually? What's in your heart? How do you want to end this interview today? It's all yours.
I miss you. I miss our Corrales family. I told Natalia that I'm pretty sure Stella's going to be in college by the time we get out of this quarantine.
She's behaving like she's in college, but
I miss all of our little kids. We have new babies, and we haven't gotten to see the babies yet.
That is true. That is true.
Babies. I don't know how many we have. Anyway, I miss our people. I think that to give the answer that's been on my mind and my heart in the past couple of days will take more than the few minutes we have left, so I'm going to skip it.
Yeah.
But I want to be ready and stay ready, because
that's good.
I think that what's coming is fantastic, and I want to be there with all of you.
Hey, Maybe after all of this is said and done, you're going to start sitting on the first row, huh?
Not gonna happen.
Okay. I thought you were emotional enough to say yes, so I was trying to manipulate you to say yes, to sit on the first row. So I missed my chance. I thought I had you right now. But no.
When you sit in the back row, you get to see so much. It's so much fun.
That's true. You're watching, you know what's going on. That's
Always.
good. So by the end of every sermon, every service, I always ask, what happened? You know, you were watching, you were observing. What happened throughout the service that I need to know? So we can start a new ministry.
I can't tell tales. That would not be nice.
Yeah, but very well. We're thankful. Thank you, Denise, for saying yes. Thank you for saying yes, for not giving up, for keeping your word. And I thank you, that viewer that is watching right now and participated with us. Hopefully, this was something that at least brought you a little closer to us, even with this whole distance. And next week, I don't know who is it going to be. Hopefully, it's going to be next week. So I'll leave the mystery. But if you could nominate somebody, who would it be? Can't make any guarantees, but who would it be? Who would you nominate to be part of this interview of What's Your Story?
Hey, I'm going to nominate Ned Gurley. Ned, because
okay, that's a good name.
I thought of Diane.
That's a very good name.
I thought of Diane. Diane is wonderful and lovely. Ned is the quiet side of that pairing.
And we need to hear the quiet side. We need to know the quiet people.
Yeah,
I like it. I'll keep that in mind.
Marvin was already named by Rico last week. I'd like to see Marvin too. That'd be fun.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll leave it as a surprise. Hopefully you'll find the ad court. It's a good one as well. So I'll leave the mystery. So tune in, guys. Continue following us on our social media, and you'll be aware of what's going on. But thank you. We miss you. I miss you as well. And if you have any needs, if there's anything going on, if you need need prayer, we are here for you. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you, Denise. Go back to your life in relief that this is all over, and relax now, and you can go watch something to relax. But thank you, guys. Till next time, blessings to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye. How do I get out of here?